Hello everyone, it's Marie and today I'm filming the answers to my first ever Q&A. So last week I hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel and I asked you to ask me questions. I was a little bit nervous that I wouldn't get any questions, but actually I got a load of questions and I'm just going to get into it and I'm going to answer them. So I'm going to start off with the questions I got on Twitter. I got 2 questions from a girl called Miranda Blake. If you're watching this, Miranda Blake, thank you so much for these questions and for often sharing my videos on Twitter on your account. It means an awful lot to me that you like my content and actually share it with people, so thank you so much for that. I definitely noticed. So the first question she asked me was, what made you decide to start YouTube and what's your favourite content to make? So I think the main thing for me is just being able to document my journey, being able to save your memories and look back on them in the future. You don't often see somebody from the day they quit their job trying to find their first ever job online and seeing it progress up until they're actually managing to be successful. So I think it was just nice to really be able to start from the beginning so that hopefully people can watch my journey evolve and hopefully it will inspire them to do it themselves. I think when you see someone start right from the bottom, it really kind of inspires you to realise that you can do it too. So I guess that's the main reason why I decided to start YouTube and document my digital nomad journey. So to answer the question of my favourite content to make, it's mostly just my digital nomad updates, being able to document my journey, how it's going, and just see the progress, and of course document my travel vlogs because I want to look back at them in the future and just savour the memories. And the next question was, do you get self-doubt with freelancing and how do you deal with it? I don't necessarily get self-doubt in freelancing in terms of being able to afford enough money to sustain travel, but I do have self-doubt that I'll be able to make it a long-term career. So we'd like to be able to kind of form businesses or some sort of careers online and really be able to take it with us into the future when we decide to have children and settle down. We'd love to always be able to be location independent. That is the place where I start to doubt myself, and the way I deal with that is just, I guess I just try not to focus on the doubt and I just try to envision what I actually want, and I also just try to live in the now and live in the moment. So I try to make goals to work towards. I just like to envision what I believe we can do and then just take a step each day as it comes to get towards that area. So I hope that kind of answers the question. I just try to focus on the positives and not really think about what could go wrong. I try to prepare for the worst, but I try not to think about it and focus on it, if that makes sense. Okay, so the next question comes from Instagram and My Mind Selfie asked, for your online teaching, was it necessary to have a TEFL or a CELTA? And did they require you to have any teaching experience? So the answer to that is no, I don't have any teaching qualifications at all. I only have a bachelor's degree in costume with performance design and I had a little bit of teaching experience. I think with 5-1 Talk they say their basic requirements are some teaching experience and to have a bachelor's degree, but I do know people that have managed to work for them that don't have a bachelor's degree and don't have any teaching experience. So I think it's about you having passion to teach and interested in learning how to teach, and more that you get through the interview. So I think they're mostly interested in seeing what you can actually do. So when you obviously apply to 5-1 Talk, they will interview you, they'll make you do like a class demo, and if they can see that you're a good teacher, like if you can present to them in your interview and in your demo that you can teach a lesson, I don't think they necessarily mind what formal qualifications you have. They just want to see that you're capable of doing it, that you're interested in it, that you have a passion and that you're very animative and have a lot of passion in the way you talk and just have a lot of enthusiasm about you. If you've got a lot of those traits, then you're more likely to get through an interview than someone who has all the qualifications that doesn't have them traits. But at the same time, there are some teaching companies that pay a lot more that definitely do require TEFL and those kind of certificates. So I would always say get one. Next part of your question was, I'm on my way to Budapest and want to know if I can maintain living there by teaching online. Good luck with Budapest. I'm sure you're going to absolutely love it. Obviously we've just left and I already wish I could go back. It's a beautiful city, so I hope you enjoy it. The answer to that is yeah, I think you can definitely survive off teaching online. For example, for me and Anzi, our rent was about £250 for the month and I made about £800 that month, so that's more than enough money to live off on in Budapest, just on my income alone, and I earn $10 an hour. Thank you for your questions, and now I'm going to head over to YouTube where I got a lot more questions. So I'm going to try and speed up a bit with these so that this video isn't too long. The first question I got on YouTube was from Julia M. How do you take your money abroad and get fair exchanges? This is still something I'm really trying to learn more about. So right now, literally, I just use my English bank accounts. I get paid my online income wages into my English bank account, and then I just use my English debit card to draw out money abroad. I don't bother going into any kind of exchange shops. I literally just get it straight out of the cash machine. So my bank does charge me a little bit. The exchange rate isn't too bad with my bank. It's more just that you get charged fees for transaction fees every time you use your card abroad, so it depends what cash machine you go to. I'm learning more and more which ones to avoid. I found that with Euronet their exchange rate is really high, so I don't use them. Usually I just go into a normal bank, so if I'm in Budapest I try to find a big bank in Budapest and I'll just go to the cash machine outside and I'll draw money out from there. So yeah, that's basically what I do. I just draw it out of the cash machine using my debit card. It's pretty straightforward. The fees aren't that high and I usually just draw out large amounts at a time, so I get charged less. But definitely let me know in the comments if anybody has a better way of doing it, or if you know any kind of companies to go with that don't charge too much, because I definitely love to look into that. Have you experienced any culture shock in Hungary? To be honest, no, we haven't experienced any culture shock at all in Hungary. I found that we haven't really experienced any culture shock at all anywhere we've gone yet, but we've only stayed within Europe so far, and you find that most European cities are the same. Most people live, you know, a similar lifestyle and have similar mannerisms and ways of living, so I haven't really experienced any culture shock yet anywhere. Especially in Hungary. I found that Hungary was very similar to the UK in lots of ways. Obviously they have their own way of doing things, but people are the same no matter where you go, I found, and so far I haven't experienced any big culture shock that I can think of. The next question is tips for getting good deals in Airbnb for long term. So for Airbnb, I usually find that if you stay for a week or you stay for a month, you usually get discounts. So when we were in Budapest, that place offered a 65% monthly discount, which is just amazing. And then obviously I used the price guide to lower it to the amount I was willing to pay, and then I kind of looked down the list and see what there was to offer, and usually the search engine would include the discount, so you'll be able to see which places are cheaper than the others. So really I just search it on Airbnb and see what comes up as the cheapest, and I'll have a look to see if it offers a discount or not. Sometimes if it doesn't, I'll send them a message and see if they're willing to give me a discount, and sometimes they'll say, yeah, I'll take 40% off or something. So if you can't see a discount, just email them and ask. And the last question is, was it hard to deal with people, family, friends telling you that it wouldn't be possible to travel and work online? So with this one I'm just very lucky because me and Andy didn't get any negativity towards it, so we've never been told by anybody that it's not possible or that we won't do it. Everyone has been really encouraging, and even the people that haven't been encouraging haven't been negative either. We've not really had any people doubt us, and if they have, they haven't told us, so we haven't had to deal with any negativity at all. I'm sure there has been some people that doubt us, and thankfully they haven't said it to us, but if they did, it would just make me more determined to prove them wrong and make sure I can succeed. So I hope that answers your questions. Thank you, Julia, for all of those. The next questions are from someone called Sheriff Style, and they said, congratulations, I'm from the UK. I want to do the same too, travel and working online. How did you start it, and how can I start it too? Can I get advice on websites I can look into for ideas, as I'm new? So do I have to take any courses or anything? Okay, so what I would say is when I decided I wanted to start working online, I started going on YouTube and typing into Google or YouTube how to become a digital nomad, how to work online, and I had to kind of figure out what approach I wanted to take. So there's tons of ways you can work online. First, you've got to think about what you want to do, so I suggest just type into Google what online jobs are there, figure out what the options are, go onto YouTube and type in how to become a digital nomad, how to work online. You'll find tons of videos giving you hundreds and hundreds of options, and then you've really just got to decide where your skills lie and what you really want to do, and then kind of find ways of doing that. So I would say look back at all my digital nomad updates. I've been making updates for the whole duration of my journey, so I just say look over them, see how I did it, look at other digital nomad videos and see how they managed it, and just literally, I mean, you're starting from scratch, so you've really just got to find out what your niche is, where your skills are, and what you want to do. In terms of courses, there's lots of courses you could take. So if you say wanted to work with web design, for example, you could go on Code Academy or find other online courses. A lot of them are free. You can just train yourself online and figure out what to do from there, and then look into getting freelance jobs that way. But if you want to start right from the beginning, just go on Upwork, go on Freelancer, go on People Per Hour, and just have a search to see what jobs there are. Have a go at applying for some jobs, find out what you want to do, and just take it from there. That's a really big, broad question. I hope I kind of answered it, and I'm actually going to be making a video soon about how to get started as a digital nomad, so I'll let you know when I make that, probably within the next week or so. So hopefully that'll help you, and I can go into more detail, because that's definitely a big question, and I can't just answer it in a couple of sentences. So I'm going to make an entire video about that within the next few weeks, so definitely look out for that. Okay, so the next question is from Anita Dougal. I hope I said that right. Tips for motivation working on a freelance basis. That's a really good question. I still struggle with getting motivated. So for me, now that I'm doing online teaching, I don't struggle so much because I have to stick to a schedule. So once I open up my lesson slots and students book in, I can't change it, I can't back out, I have to be in that class at that time, and that really forces me to get out of bed in the morning, get the work done. I don't really have the choice to just stay in bed, procrastinate, watch Netflix and not get any work done until late at night. I have to do it because I'm scheduled to do it, and that student's going to be sat there waiting for me, so I have no choice or I will lose my job basically. So that's how I keep the motivation while teaching. It's kind of like a normal job. Once I book in for that class, I have to do it. But when I'm doing my VAing and stuff like that, once again, I try to set myself a schedule. So I actually have a bullet journal here. I don't bullet journal as good as some people, but I do try to make really strict schedules for myself in here. So I kind of try to make schedules for everything. So that's basically what I personally do. I just try to stick to schedules. I try to make myself deadlines so that I can't just procrastinate and not do it. Okay, so the next question is from Nonstop Paris. Go check her channel out, by the way, because she makes some great travel vlogs as well. She says, since you smashed your 2017 goal, what are your new goals for your YouTube channel? So obviously my goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers, so I guess my next goal would be to hit 2,000. Another goal of mine is to interview more people, so I've really loved doing them collabs that I've done recently. I did an interview with Dan from Envision Adventure, and I did an interview with Kyle from This Is Kyle's Life, and I would love to find more freelancers and digital nomads to interview for my channel so that people can learn from them. So yeah, that's another goal I'd like to do. Collab with more people. The second question she asked was, what are your short and long-term digital nomad career goals? So for the short term, my career goals are to earn a minimum of £1,000 a month, be able to sustain an income online and be able to travel as much as I can on a full-time basis and not have to go home and be broke. For the long term, to make a real career of it. I don't want to just go traveling for 3 years and then return to normal life, get a regular job and be a normal person. I don't want that. I want to be a digital nomad forever, so that's the long-term goal, hopefully, to sustain it. Next countries you want to live in. So the next country we are living in is Prague. So overall, I don't have a huge list of countries I want to live in. I just want to see as much of Europe as I can in the next year. And after Europe, Australia is definitely next on the list of places to live. Can you see yourself settling somewhere anytime soon? So it depends what you mean as settling. So obviously we are traveling very slow right now. So I mean, not super slow, there are people that travel a lot slower than us, but we're planning on staying in each place for a minimum of 2 months, some places 3 to 4 months, so I don't really know if you consider that settling. In Prague we're going to be there for about 4 months, so I guess you could consider us settling in Prague for a bit. But in terms of properly settling for like a year or so, that's probably not going to happen for at least 3 years. And the last question asked by Nonstop Paris is digital nomad life as easy or as difficult as you thought it would be? And how often do you travel / contact home? So I guess it's kind of what I expected. I knew that it wouldn't be super easy, but I also knew that it wouldn't be a walk in the park and that there would be struggles too. There's definitely been some struggles come up that we didn't expect, like missing our flight, for example, and having to pay a lot of money for a new one. Things like that. But in terms of online work, at the minute it's kind of going as we expected and we've not had any major struggles, but I'm expecting for things to go horribly wrong sometimes and I'm expecting things to go really good sometimes, so I didn't really give myself a chance to think about what it would actually be like. I just kind of dived into it. If I hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't have done it, so yeah, I didn't really give myself any expectations. And in terms of contacting home, sometimes I'll Skype family probably once or twice a week. I'm constantly seeing them sharing statuses and stuff, so it kind of feels like I'm always in contact with them in a way, so yeah, so quite frequently. Okay, so I've actually got a ton of questions from someone called Curious USA, so I'm going to try and answer these really quick because they've asked me like 15 questions or something. So thank you so much for all these questions. I'm going to try and be as quick as possible answering them so it doesn't take too long. So the first question is, are you immune to trolls? No, I'm not. I think it depends on the context of the comment, so if it's just like a trolley comment that's not really personal, yeah, I'm immune to that. I'll just kind of delete it or ignore it because it doesn't mean much. But if it's like a really hateful comment or it's really personal or they're really picking into me personally or my appearance, yeah, that probably will upset me, and usually I will just ignore it or delete it. I don't like to feed it. I don't mind constructive criticism, I don't mind hate to some degree if it's constructive and it can help me improve, or if I can see kind of where they're coming from. But if it's just like, you're ugly or I don't know, I just try and ignore them. So the next question is, what do you like about yourself? I guess if I had to talk about a good trait that I like about myself, it would be that I'm really persistent. So yeah, I think that's the main thing, just that I'm very persistent and that I don't like to take no for an answer. Even when I fail, I'll always get back up and try again and try harder. What do you dislike about yourself? That's a very interesting question. I think I dislike that I don't really know who I am fully. Like, I don't really know where I'm going in life. All I know is that I want to travel and I want to maintain it. I still don't really know what I want to do in the future in a long-term career setting. I'm very indecisive too, so I'm always changing my mind on things, and I find it hard to kind of have a style. Like, I feel like I don't have my own style. Like, you look at some people and they, you know their style, you just look at them and they have that presence, like that is who they are, you know. They have a clothing style, they have a style to everything they do, whereas I feel like I'm all over the place. I don't know what my colour scheme is, I don't know. There's just so many things I don't know about myself, so I think that's one of the things I don't like, that I guess I can't pinpoint who I am as a person. Maybe I never will, but yeah, that's one of the things I guess I don't like. Are you an open person? Yes, sometimes too open, because I'll tell people my life story if they ask. I don't really keep much to myself, so yeah, I'm very open. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. So I don't really have much sense of like what's too personal, so I don't mind telling people my earnings or like, and I'm very open, so yeah, I think sometimes that's a bad thing, but I don't know. And what do your parents and siblings think about your activities and philosophy of life? So my parents and siblings, they are pretty similar to me. I think we're all quite open-minded people, and we're all a little more on the alternative edge to life, so yeah, none of them are really shocked or surprised or doubtful of my philosophy to life. Do they watch your videos? Yes. Not all of them. I don't think my siblings watch all my videos, but my mum definitely watches all my videos. Was there a traumatic event in your life? Not necessarily traumatic, but being in a car crash was definitely one of those kind of switch on light bulb moments in my life that made me kind of question things, but I wouldn't say I've had a traumatic experience in my life, definitely not. Have you ever been in a physical fight with someone? Do my siblings count? Do you worry about making the right decisions? Yes, I'm the kind of person that overthinks a lot, so I do often worry about whether I'm making the right decisions, but at the same time, I just try to have the mindset that you can never know what is or isn't the right decision, and if you don't do it now and you want to do it, you'll just regret it later in life. I don't want to live with regrets, so I just try to follow with what I feel is right at the time. I try to think about whether it's a smart decision, but at the same time, I like to take risks. I like to sometimes just go with it and not think too much about it. And the next question is, do you have secrets? Yeah, of course I have secrets. Everyone has secrets. I don't have any dark secrets. I don't have any big secrets. Me and Andy are very open with each other, so me and Andy have absolutely no secrets at all. Obviously, I don't tell everything to YouTube, but that's not secrets. That's just withholding personal information from the internet. So no, I don't really have any big secrets. There's nothing that's happened in my life that I can't tell anyone or anything. I'm a pretty open person, as I said. Are you searching for happiness? No, I'm definitely not searching for happiness. I think that if you try to search for happiness, you'll never truly be happy. I think that you've just got to be happy with what you've got in life, because there's always going to be someone that's better off than you, there's always going to be someone that's worse off with you, and no one thing or experience or possession can bring you happiness, no person can bring you happiness. You've got to be happy with what you've got, with who you are as a person. So I think that happiness starts within, and then you can expand from there. I think that mostly I'm just trying to accept everything that I have and be happy with what I have. I'm not trying to search for any happiness as such. Are your feelings easily hurt? I'm not a super sensitive person. So I don't think so. Obviously there's some things that upset me, but I think I'm a pretty tough person. I try to brush things off, so not really, no. I'm not sensitive, if that makes sense. Do you cry easily? Once again, no. I very rarely cry. I'm not the kind of person to show emotion or show sensitivity to anyone, really. Definitely not the kind of person to cry easily at all. Which of you has a better understanding of each other? So I guess this is about me and Andy. I think that we both have a very good understanding of each other. I don't think that one of us knows the other one more than the other. We've been together for like almost 7 years now, and we have a pretty good understanding of each other. Yeah, I think that we're both kind of even on that one. Do you have trouble sleeping or falling to sleep? Yeah, actually, I used to suffer from terrible insomnia, and I still get it at times. I still haven't quite been able to pinpoint why I get it, whether it's to do with diet or stress or something. I just try and keep a healthy lifestyle in general, and it tends to go away. But yeah, in the past and in patches even now, I still do have trouble with sleeping. The last question is, do you want to have children? Yes, me and Andy would like to have children. Not at the moment. I just feel like we're not at a place in our life right now where we'd want children. Like, we can't financially afford to have children, and we're traveling, so it wouldn't make any sense to have kids. It's definitely not something that we want or plan anytime soon. Okay, so the next question is from Zama World, and they said, what was your underestimated expense as a digital nomad until now? So expenses that you were not expecting or you thought would be lower. I'm not really sure that I underestimated any expenses, so I guess, I mean, I've been living on my own as an adult for about 5 years now. I have a pretty good understanding of rent, bills, food, you know, fuel, transport, all of that. So I have a pretty good understanding of what things cost. The only expenses I really thought about were rent, travel, food, and just general living costs. I found that whether you're in another country or whether you're here in the UK, it's the same no matter where you go. Whether you're living here or Hungary or Germany or whatever, you still have the same things to pay for and put into your budget. Sometimes obviously things cost more or less in different countries, but as long as you have an understanding of what they will cost. But yeah, I think it's about the same. We haven't had anything unexpected yet, but maybe one day we will. Here is a question from Kaylee Redhead, and she says, what do you like about teaching online? And have you looked into which are the best companies for teaching online? Pay, differences, platforms, teacher support, etc. I love teaching online because it just means that I can talk to people from other countries, and I just love hearing life from other people's perspectives, seeing what it's like living in other places, seeing them progress. It's a very rewarding job, and that's why I love it. So right now I'm very happy with the company I work for, so I haven't felt a need or a desire to look into other companies, but it's definitely something I'd like to work on in the future for the long term. So here is a question from Rebecca Esther. I hope I said that right. What countries or cities are top on your travel wish list? So honestly, there's so many. I just want to see the world, so I want to see everywhere. But as of right now, top countries, I just want to group Europe in as one. I just love to see most of Europe, as much of Europe as I can in the next year. I think top of that list would definitely be Italy, Spain, Portugal, and I'd really love to see some Scandinavia too, like Norway, Switzerland. I'd love to see Finland and Estonia, so I really want to see those areas. I want to go to Bulgaria. There's loads of places I want to go, and obviously after Europe I really want to go to Australia. I really want to go to New Zealand, and then Thailand, Vietnam, and do a lot of Eastern Asian countries and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of at the minute what's on my list, but I also really want to go to America and see that. I'd love to go to Canada. Can I just put the whole world on that list, because I really just want to see as much as I can. The next questions are from Josh the Travel Guy. He is also a digital nomad and travels, and he has lots of travel vlogs on his channel, so definitely go check him out. He's got a very good channel. I totally recommend you go see it. And he asks, do you ever second guess your decision to be a digital nomad, or is it the best thing you've ever done? I definitely do not second question it at all. It's the best thing I decided to do. I just have to look at my life now and look at my life a year ago, and it's already a billion times better because I have so much more control over my time, my life, where I'm going to be, where I can go. This is the first time in my life I've ever had the ability to just go somewhere in the world and not have to think about it, not have to book it off work, not have to ask my boss. I have the freedom I've always wanted, so yeah, I do not second guess it. And if there ever comes a time when I don't want to do it, I just move back and continue with a normal life. I don't see it as a loss at all. I'm not thinking about what I'm missing out on, I just think about what I'm gaining living this lifestyle. And the next question is, looking back, would you make any changes to the way you've done things? Looking back, all I would say is that I wish I'd done it sooner. So I wish I had have known at a younger age that this was an option. I wish that when I was 19 years old and I was signing up for university, I wish that I'd have known that it was possible to work online and travel, and I would have probably started doing it sooner. But at the same time, if you've seen my university experience video, you'll know that university was the best years of my life, and I don't regret it at all because it actually gave me my passion to travel. So no, I would never look back on things and wish I'd done them differently, because I am who I am now because of my past. Biggest surprise with your amazing journey, and what is your most standout moment so far? There haven't been any big surprises yet, apart from the fact that I'm so surprised that I managed to get an online job so quickly. I think that's my biggest surprise. I was not expecting to be able to do this so quickly. I thought it'd take me much longer to find an online income, so that's been a big surprise, a very good surprise. And in terms of standout moments, I mean, bear in mind I've only been doing this a few months, so there's still lots of moments to come. But I think the biggest standout moment for me was just when we went to Vienna, because we ended up going to Slovakia for the day and getting a free ticket to Vienna. I just remember kind of walking around Vienna and just being so kind of, I really can't think of a word to describe it, but I just had this big moment where I was just suddenly so grateful and so thankful for having this opportunity. Just this one moment where I thought about everything that I've managed to gain and how right at that moment in time I was in Vienna and I had the ability to be there. You know, there was no one telling me to come back. There was no boss at work that I had to go back to the next day. There was no holiday form to fill in to request the time off. There was no restrictions, nothing. I had the freedom to be there, and I knew that I could go to work the next day in my Airbnb in Budapest and that I was living this life. It was a big realization moment for me, so I think that's probably been one of the biggest standout moments, just that realization. It was more of a mental realization. And also when we went to Visegrad and we went up the huge hill to the castle, that was an amazing day too. So thank you, Josh, for those questions, and I think that's about it. I think the last question is Nonstop Paris, and she says, what is your best memory of life as a digital nomad? Once again, probably the one in Vienna that I just talked about. And also, a couple of weeks ago when my mum and brother came to visit in Budapest and I was able to show them around the beautiful city that I'd been living in for 6 weeks. So I think that's all the questions. I'm just looking now and checking and I can't find any more questions. So that was like 40 questions. So I really don't know how long this video is. So I just want to say a big thank you so much to everyone who asked me these questions. They were such good questions, and as you can tell, it's now getting dark. So I'm just going to end this video here. I'm going to keep the outro short because this video is probably way too long. So thanks for asking me the questions. I really appreciated them and I loved answering them, and I will see you next time. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe and share, and I will see you in the next one.